Hello, hello, and welcome to the All In podcast with Nate Pao. Of course, I am your host, Nate Pao. Today, my guest is Douglas Levin. Douglas has been, or he formerly was, a professional drummer living in Chicago for about 10 years before he started selling on Amazon in his spare time back in 2014. He's done everything from arbitrage to wholesale to private label and eventually got enough money coming in that his wife could work full time for the company. In preparation for the launch of his first brand, Douglas started to become obsessed with chatbots and built up a messenger list of over 20,000 subscribers, which led to over $20,000 in monthly sales within the first 3 months of launch. It's also helped him start building his brand away from Amazon. Douglas currently lives in the Illinois suburbs with his wife and two stepsons. Welcome to the show, Douglas. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Yeah, so 20,000, a lot of subscribers in there. Did that take a while to get built? Like, what kind of led you to the idea of creating a chatbot to create that list?
Well, I think like everybody else, you kind of see that stuff out there, like it starts to gain traction. So I think when I was trying to work on that first product for that new brand, there was a lot of issues. So I didn't really get to do much at the
Mm.
time in terms like, oh, I thought it would only take like 3 months and it took like a lot longer. So I didn't really have a chance to do it, but because it took so long, I was able to focus on other things. And that's where like I kept seeing chatbots everywhere. They're like, oh, it's like 5 times the open rates and CTRs and all the other stuff of email, and it does like it's the best thing since sliced bread, that kind of thing. So I started to see that everywhere, and then it's like, okay, well, I can't do anything to sell my new product yet, so let me kind of dive into this. And at that point, I just kind of became obsessed with it.
Yeah, so I'm curious, personally curious about what a chatbot is in reality, and to like it sounds like something that would be like, oh, a chatbot. That feels like I'm going to get spam messages and I'm just going to be engaging with a fake conversation. It's not going to feel real. Like the, to me as a consumer, I feel kind of I don't want that. And then if I was into becoming an entrepreneur, a lot of times we do this when entrepreneurs, we go, hey, what would I like to see done? And you say, like, I hate getting spam emails, but yet everybody that's in entrepreneurship continues to do the spam emails because they must be working or you wouldn't do them. So what is a chatbot, and how can you kind of take some of this, the maybe bad reputation of spam out of it, and how is it useful?
Yeah. So chatbots themselves are nothing too complicated. It's just an automated conversation between some if it's your brand or whatever it is that you're trying to promote, and a prospect that's reaching out to you. So that's all it is. And it's pretty simple to set up as well. Like you don't need to be a coder for any of it. But yeah, definitely there are people out there. Obviously, you've seen it a bunch on the email side, and you do see it on the chatbot side as well, where people just treat it like email, like the business owners are like, okay, yeah, it's a one-to-many approach. I'm just going to spam people, and then I'll get some sales out of it. And that they're the kind of people that honestly make a bad name for chatbots and marketing in general. Really, the big thing you want to watch out for when you're doing anything at all, and I look at this for any type of outreach, but especially for chatbots, is that it's all about having a conversation. And this is where that kind of big shift happened for me when I was trying to understand chatbots. Is all it is an extension of yourself. So if you were going to have a conversation with a prospect one-on-one, and you were going to answer questions about your product or your service or whatever it is that you're trying to promote, like how would you have that conversation with them? Like how would you give them value? Like these, like trying to think of these kinds of questions as you're going through it. And at that point, it's just a simple like, if they do this, then I would do that. If they do this, then that kind of approach. And you can kind of go as deep as you want on it, or you can keep it really simple. But if you look at it from that perspective, then it's not really spam, where it's just, hey, buy my crap, buy my crap. It's awesome, but like I'm actually going to have a real conversation like we're having now.
So like if I went on your site and I said, oh, I'm kind of interested in this product you're offering, and I might ask you normal questions like, what's included in the price, or does this include shipping, or does this have a rebate policy? Like those are the questions I might ask, and those would automatically be answered. I mean, guessing some of this information might exist somewhere in like some small print or fine print or something like that. But the questions you have, like, hey, what's expected life cycle, use of whatever it is. Like, am I going to get a year's worth out of it? So I'm going to get 10 years. Those are like the frequently asked questions. Is that kind of what the chatbot does in like a back and forth? Just like if we were having a conversation and I had questions about what you're offering and you're answering them personally, it's the chatbot's kind of got the answers for you.
Yeah. I mean, that's where over time you kind of get there. Like when you're first starting off with chatbots, it build, like understand that it's going to build over time. So if you have never done anything with chatbots at all, you don't know the first thing about it, then you got to start somewhere and you got to like start to compile that data. But if you have like, okay, that you're putting it on your website, or you're putting it on a Facebook page or wherever it is you're putting it, and you already have like all of these frequently asked questions that like people are going to ask, or like your brand's been around for like five or 10 years or whatever it is, then at that point you can start to compile that and put that in a chatbot. So it's part of like keyword automation, where like they would basically, okay, what's your return policy, and then whenever they put that phrase in, it's automatically going to kind of get that response going. So you can go crazy with it. But a lot of times what I'll see is when people are getting started, obviously you keep it simple. But yeah, the more data you get over time, you can have those kind of automated conversations where and that's honestly the best part for the customer, if it's done correctly, is, all right, if it's 3 in the morning and I came across your brand and I want to know your rebate policy, I want to know how long the product lasts, like the questions that you're asking, like we're at this point, we're a type of society that we want immediate gratification, and that's what this does. So you don't have to be up, assuming that you do that work and you're able to set up that automation. Then a customer can reach out at 3 in the morning and get a response immediately without you touching anything, like without anybody from your team doing anything as well. You can even go a step further. If there is something that they ask you where there's nothing in the automation to answer that, then you could have it tag somebody and notify them, like on your team or you or however it is. So you'll get a notification, and then you can have that conversation in real time as well. And then at that point, it's just the idea of, all right, so here's something I can now add in. This person asked me something that is probably going to get asked like a bunch over time. I just add it into a spreadsheet or whatever it is that you use to track, and then you would add that to your chatbot and keep making it smarter and smarter over time.
Yeah, very cool. So before we get into your backstory and your journey, I have a question for you. What is your take on luck? What does that word mean to you?
I honestly think in terms of luck, it's a lot about what you've done to get there. Yes, there is a certain amount of luck that comes into play, but I think you end up making your own luck. If you are putting in the work at whatever it is you're trying to do, then a lot of times opportunity starts to find you. So whether you call that luck or not, I don't know. But I like the way I typically look at it, and it's what I've seen myself in terms of my life and my journey, I guess, is that if you don't see results automatically, and especially when you're a business owner, you're basically grinding for months and years, and there's no guarantee of any kind of success or anything like that. But then you keep doing it and you keep picking yourself up after setback, then eventually some kind of luck will cross your path and you're ready for it. And then at that point, it's whether you believe that's luck or not. I think that's just you being ready because you've been putting in the work.
Yeah, I'm a believer of what you said. My theory has been like, hey, luck tends to be, people say somebody's lucky, they're just like, oh, they're in the right place at the right time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to increase your luck, you need to be at the right places more often so that when the right time is there, you're, like you said, you see the opportunity, you're there to take advantage of it and make it there. But if you're just not in the right places, you'll never be at the right time, so very cool. So as you were, long time ago, professional drummer, not doing Amazon sales, what led you to this idea of like, hey, this is something I want to start doing? And did you have any clue that it would lead to a full-time profession? You're basically your career is doing this, or was it just like, hey, there's a little hobby, a little side income?
Yeah, I honestly had no idea that it would lead to where it's become. Uh, like I said it like over the years, like I never thought I would be a business owner. I never thought I'd be an entrepreneur. Like I was not a natural born entrepreneur at all. It was just more like in 2014 when I started, I like all I had ever done was play music like that. That's the only job I ever had was like as a musician, or I think I got paid a few times as like an engineer for a recording studio, but it was still in the music field. And all it really was I had good credit, and I was in the travel and points world where like you get free trips and cash back and things like that. And one of those bloggers had talked about the idea of reselling your stuff on Amazon and basically getting free points so that
Mhm.
I could travel. So that was honestly like how I got started with it. It wasn't anything where like, oh, I want to make a ton of money and I want to be in charge of my own life or anything like that. I had come from a music background where like I was sleeping until like 2 or 3 in the afternoon, and I'd be playing until 2 or 3 in the morning, like that kind of thing, and that was my life. I never once thought I would kind of go down this route, but really that like the travel and points world was where I kind of got started, and then from there, I made a lot of mistakes because I didn't know what I was doing. But ultimately, obviously, you start to learn, and then it kind of led down obviously this path, which I never thought I would get to.
Cool. So what was kind of like that aha moment where you just said, hey, this is something that I could make a real go at and I could build something big?
Well, really, I mean, it did take a while, I think. I started off with like there was simple stuff in my closet that I never opened that was like new like electronics devices or anything like that. And I would get a sale every once in a while and like I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. But I didn't know any kind of a process for it. So I would have to like drive 5 or 10 minutes to the post office every time that somebody bought from me. And then I would have to buy a box, buy tape, all that kind of stuff just for the one shipment. And I think at that point it cost me more money to ship it than it did for what I was making. But like I was like, all right, I can kind of see how this might work. So all right, let's make the transition to like actually like shipping it into Amazon where they fulfill it for you. And then when I did, and I started to actually like source like new products, where like I would go like in like a Walmart or online, and I would buy something, and then like I'd ship it in, and then like 2 days later I'd get a sale. I'm like, wow, I just made like $20, or I made like whatever, and like I spent like what an hour or two on the computer, and I made like 100, $200. And I was like, wow, okay, now I kind of see the idea here. Like I can obviously I would do retail arbitrage as well where I go in the store, but I think the appeal like that kind of like aha thing for me was like, oh wow, I can lay in bed if I want to, and I could work for like 3 or 4 hours a day and potentially make I don't know 3, 4, 500 bucks a day off of this if I do it right. I'm like, okay, I can make a lot more money than I am as a musician right
Yeah. Are you still doing the musician stuff?
now. I haven't really done as much lately. What's funny is actually yesterday one of my old bands that I'd been with like 20 years ago, they were like one of my first like original bands. They were wanting to record again. So like I haven't really done it since I got crazy with the business, but they were talking about it. So I'm probably gonna end up going to the recording studio in probably a month or so. I have to get better at drumming again, but
Practice
it'll be
always.
fun. Yeah.
So talk a little bit about what you transitioned, like you said you're able to get your wife to come on and work for your business full time. It's clearly your main source of revenues right now, and you're also getting the brand away from Amazon. What talk a little bit about that path to growing it big enough to start bringing on some of your family to work for the company, and then where are you headed in the next few years? What are you working on?
Yeah. So when we were doing like what's called arbitrage, when I was talking about a little bit earlier, so that was going pretty well. But one of the things with Amazon is especially with arbitrage, but it's with all business models in general, there's always going to be downsides to it. And one of the downsides of arbitrage is that you're not an authorized seller of those products. So the brands are always like trying to figure out what's the leak with their supply chain and what can they do to stop it. So you're a nuisance to them most of the time. So because of that, sometimes the brands don't know what to do, and they will basically do things that are against terms of service, that are even illegal sometimes, just because they don't know what to do. And you as a seller are left out in the cold, or it's pretty much Amazon is proving you guilty, and you have to prove you're innocent. So I was worried about something like that happening to me, because it was more and more becoming my lone source of revenue. So I ended up making a transition more to wholesale, and it went well for a little while. But with Amazon, it's still their sandbox, and there was issues that came up where we had a $20,000 shipment, which was more than I made as a musician, and it was like our first exclusive as a wholesale account, and it was winter, and Amazon just decided to leave them out for like 2 or 3 days in the cold, and the shipment cracked.
Mhm.
So that led to like a ton of stress on my end, and then like I think it was like around 6 months later, we also got 10 used sold as new complaints on our account, where we were having to spend another $2 or $3,000 to get our products back up, and these were like some of our best selling products that were new, that were wholesale accounts, and because it was dealing with Amazon and the negative side of it, I was losing revenue because I couldn't sell them, and I had to pay for $2 or $3,000 to figure out a plan of action so I can get them back on and not mess up my account. So when these things are starting to pile up on you, you're like, well, if something does happen, then I've got no money coming in. I'm screwed.
Mhm.
So I still love Amazon. I still use it. It's an amazing channel. I don't recommend people just ignore it, because it's an amazing platform. However, I wanted a little bit more safety in terms of our income, and also the ability to scale as well in terms of actually owning your customer, because it's Amazon's customer.
Mhm.
So it's a great place to get a lot of income, and like I said, we still use it and we still love it, but there are downsides, and the downside of it's their sandbox, and you could go away at any time for any reason, and it's their customer, so you are not really building up as much of an asset as you could. Like those were what really led me to want to start to use them, but only use them as a platform to sell my stuff, and not
Mhm.
and not my sole thing, my sole source. So that's where the idea came from, in terms of like, all right, so what can I do to start owning the customer? And that's where I kind of dove in deeper in terms of like the off Amazon stuff, in terms of what can I do to own the customer, like the marketing side of it. And at that point, like we were making enough money where like I think it was more when we went to the wholesale side that my wife, I think she had started to work. I think it was some other job, just because she wanted to start working, and she had done something else for like family for like 5 or 6 years. Like when I met her, she was doing another job, and like for her family, and then that was ending, and she was looking for another job, and she started it, and then at the time, I think it lasted about a week, and then her kids, my stepsons, but one of them was like, there was stuff where like she could feel like she needed to be home,
Mhm.
just in terms of helping out with the kids, and and we were talking about it at the time. It's like, all right, well, I think we got enough money coming in terms of the business side, that we can probably figure out how to make this work so you can stay home. And then from there, obviously, it turned into other stuff. She became like the face of our brand when we launched, and it's kind of worked out since then.
Very cool. Very cool. So what would your advice be to new entrepreneurs and they're starting off a business? Is should they be looking at Amazon? Should they be looking at arbitrage? Should they stay out of that space completely? Is it oversaturated? What would be your take to anybody looking to get started?
I mean, I think arbitrage is a great way to get started. I hear this in a lot. Like I'm in a bunch of Facebook groups, a bunch of masterminds where we talk about e-commerce and Amazon and everything under the sun having to do with that. And I hear it everywhere in terms of people that are getting started, and people that are giving advice about getting started. Um, like there's three different ways to do it, right? In terms of, if you're talking about Amazon, like selling physical products, there's arbitrage, which is what we're talking about before, where you're buying and selling from like big box stores like Walmart, Target, places like that. There's wholesale, where you're an authorized seller of their products, and there's private label where you're creating your own brand and product, and then you're selling it. Pretty much the thought at this point is it doesn't matter what model you're going to go with. I think arbitrage is a great way to start if you're going to be selling on Amazon, because there's so many things that you don't know when you're getting started. And it like I was saying, in terms of Amazon specifically, is it's their sandbox, their rules. So it's good for you to understand how that process works. And if you're doing, say, wholesale, you could have shipments for like $10,000, $20,000, like I was talking about, where if you screw that up because you don't understand how to ship in a box or how to label your inventory, then you could be in bad shape. And the same thing with private label. We were having like $40,000, $50,000 orders for private label, and you're not going to make your money back for potentially 3 to 6 months or even longer. And a lot of that money is going to have to go towards your next order. So at that point, you could be out of thousands and thousands of dollars if you don't understand how the Amazon platform works. And all of those models have their quirks and intricacies on their own. So at least with arbitrage, you can get started. I mean, you're not you're not going to be able to scale with like say $50, but to get started and have an idea of how Amazon works, you could get started with stuff in your garage, or you could go to a Walmart and spend $50 and get started. And in worst case scenario, you really screw up, you're out $50. So it's a great way to start and understand how you label, how you ship in a box, how you deal with Amazon's I can't think of the word, but idiosyncrasies, like those kinds of things where you can get better at it. So I would say, like, regardless of what you're going to do, like obviously I talk about selling away from Amazon as well. You need to understand the platform first before you can start to do anything else.
Yeah, I like that idea of getting started and learning the ropes first, because I think a lot of people try to jump out and do too big too fast, and they don't learn the fundamentals and how business works and how selling works and all that stuff. And so you learn it. Your mistakes are small; they're recoverable. You know, you can rebound from it. And Gary Vee talks a lot about, you know, how does he call it? Like the flip economy. So like you go and you buy something at a garage sale for $5 and resell it on eBay or Amazon for $25, and then you take your 20. And I was like, you know, that's kind of interesting. That's kind of cool. And it's so true that like you can have $0 and fund your business. I don't have money to do it. Well, you say, okay, you know, you don't need a lot of money. Like, how could you get $100 to go, you know, turn it into $200? Well, like I just started looking at stuff I had in my garage. Like I have, you know, shoes I had bought 4 or 5 years ago that I'd never worn. Like they were essentially brand new, probably paid $80 for them, and they're not doing anything in the garage. So you sell them for 15, $20 and somebody will pick them up, no problem. Or, you know, a lot of times like you don't realize, like even old shirts that you've worn, they have, sometimes they have like a vintage brand, or it's like it's something like that people are passionate about that brand, but that shirt's no longer available, you know. And you go, hey, like for example, maybe you own some old uh, concert t-shirts or something like that because you went and saw Def Leppard in the 80s. Like you can't get that t-shirt, but there's somebody out there that's going to go, oh my God, I love that. I was like, I wish I had that shirt. And you could put on a 30-year-old shirt that's been worn 1,000 times for like $50, and somebody would buy it from you, and you probably paid $10.99 for or something like that. So it's really an easy way to take nothing. I mean, obviously it's the stuff you paid for it at some point and you've incurred a loss, but it's stuff you're not using, you're not going to do anything with. Or, you know, you can browse the Facebook free stuff and go pick some up and start doing it. So and you learn, like, some things don't sell, some things do. What's your price point? You know, I didn't think about shipping and tape and boxes and stuff like that. And it's like, how much would it cost to ship something? You're like, yeah, $3. Okay, well the box is $1.50, and that tape, you know, you have to buy a roll of tape. The tape's $3 itself. You're like, okay, well now I just lost all my profits on buying a tape in a box, but now you have your tape. So the next time you're not buying $3 worth of tape, and you're kind of building up some of these fixed costs that you need. You're learning the ropes along the way. Awesome stuff. So what is your brand that you're working on right now? What is, you know, the ins and outs of what you're doing?
Yeah, so obviously we've been working in terms of like physical brands, a brand that kind of is the sole focus on the physical product side. So that's more like a replenishable product. We sell like a grocery product. So that's where we really kind of I'll tell you, my wife is the face of the brand, so that kind of worked out. And that's where I really got deeper into the marketing aspects. Like what can I really know? Like that's where obviously like the chatbots became a big deal, but really the big thing with the chatbots was chatbots only work as much as you tell it. So when I really dove into the marketing side of like, all right, what do I know about my ideal customer? What kind of brand values do I have? Like how much can I understand about my competitor? That's ultimately when I say like the 20,000 that we got. That's what did it. Is that I dove into knowing everything I could about my ideal customer and where they hang out and what their pain points are. It's the thing that I always talk about is that all a product ever is a solution to a problem. So all you're trying to do is look at your ideal customer, what kind of problems do they have, and what can I identify as something that's going to help them solve that problem. That's it. So as we were kind of coming up with our stuff, that's what I try and do. And really like anytime I'm working with a client or anything else along those lines, that's what I try and do as well. It's like, all right, what's the problem that their ideal customer is having? And then from there, you also get like a whole bunch of new product ideas too, because that's all you're ever trying to do. And a lot of business owners are always like, I don't know what to come up with for my next product or anything like that. I mean, if you have access to a community of your ideal customers or they're on your list or anything along those lines, then this is a great way to find that out, right? You can poll them. You can, if you have them in groups, if you have them on your list, like you now have a great resource and all you're trying to do is solve their problem. So, oh, well, is this a problem for you? Or what's the biggest issue you're facing? Or anything along those lines. And then you're just trying to give value, like whether it's in the form of some kind of a lead magnet or case study or whatever it is that is going to help give them value along that journey. And eventually like some kind of physical product or something that you could sell them on. And that's all the process ever is. It's not too complicated.
Yeah, I think we overthink things a lot. So wrapping up our discussion, I've got to ask you a question I always ask my guests, which is, what does it mean to be all in to you?
Um, so when I hear the word all in or that kind of phrase, I think of Tony Robbins and Burn the Boats. If you kind of know that one, that's the first thing that comes in my head. Like basically, all right, if I'm going to do this, and this is something that I honestly struggled with for a while, is um, the thought that, all right, if I'm doing something and then you're like, I've had shiny object syndrome. I know it's what a lot of business owners have struggled with. I'll work on something and then something, oh, this nice little cool thing, I want to try that. Or I'll do something and I won't get the results. And I'll ask like other people in the mastermind or other people in other groups, like, how long do you stick with something? Like it's not working.
Uh-huh.
And really like the big thing that stuck out to me when I heard this, like you don't ever stop. Like you go all in and you work that until you get where you need to go. So like it doesn't matter how long it takes, it doesn't matter how many iterations it takes, like how many setbacks you get, you go all in and you do whatever you need to so that you eventually get where you want to go. So that's what I think of when I think of all in. It's like, all right, there's going to be setbacks. Everybody deals with them. Like everybody deals with them every day. And you make mistakes. Like I make 5,000 mistakes every single day. And there's times where you're going to get down on yourself for it and you have to try and figure out how to get past that. But going all in, when I think of it, is basically I'm going to not let anything stop me from getting from here to there. I don't care how long it takes. I don't care how much I have to keep working on it. I'm going to go all in and get there. So that's what I think.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Like I've been working on a project, a learning course, and it's been hammered into me like, hey, we're going to create this landing page and we're going to figure it out. You're going to post it. And you're going to get feedback on it. And the feedback's going to see what's working, what's not. And we're going to constantly change it. And we're going to constantly iterate it. And we're going to go over and over. And so if you go, hey, maybe in the past, I try something, it's not working. It's like, oh, let's abandon it because it's not working. And it's like, no, you're there's something in your message that you're saying that's not resonating with people. You're either not solving a problem or you're solving a problem, but you're not being clear about it, or the problem you're solving isn't, the problem that needs solving from the customers you're attracting. Like there's like a pain versus claim. Like, does this a pain reliever solve a headache? Well, it solves pain, but it's for a stomach ache. It's like, it's not the right thing. Okay, well then your message is not in alignment with what you're trying to do. And you just keep figuring that out, asking yourself more and more questions, and keep digging down. Like you said, if you're willing to never give up on it, you're going to find a solution that works, which may be, hey, the message is right, the product's wrong, or the product's right, the message is wrong, or some variation within those things. And you figure it out and things start working. And then again, you look at it more, you go, how could this work a little bit better? And constantly improving. It's a never ending process. But I think people that are entrepreneurs like figuring stuff out, and that's like the fun part about it. And it's, if you just got it right the first time, put it up there and raked in the dough, it's like you're going to get bored and you're going to want to go figure out something else and try something new and keep tinkering. So awesome stuff. So who exactly is your ideal audience you're trying to get in front of?
So I guess I'll tell you in terms of the one of the things that we've got now that I've really been focusing on is helping other e-commerce sellers. Kind of moving forward, because the brand itself is I wouldn't say autopilot, but we have a good system down for it. So I'm looking at other things for that. So I look at it from that perspective in terms of like e-commerce sellers. So my ideal customer when I'm looking at that is an established e-commerce seller, someone who's been selling ideally on Amazon, that has been successful, that that knows the platform, that has had success. Usually they're in the same position I am in terms of they're making a living at it. But like me, they have dealt with those Amazon headaches before, and they're looking for, like, obviously their problem is that they're completely reliant on Amazon for their entire business, and they've dealt with those same headaches that I have. So in a lot of ways, I'm my ideal customer, um, uh, and uh, and they're looking for a better way in terms of so that they can supplement their income on Amazon from the idea of obviously niching down with their products and brands, so that they can start to own their customer, but they don't know how to do it. They don't have a lot of time, but they know how valuable customers are, like in owning a customer. Obviously, like like Russell Brunson and everyone else, they talk about the idea of one customer is worth $1 per month in recurring revenue if you can get one. So they understand that. They just don't know how to do it. So that's their big problem. And they've got obviously 5 million things to do every day. Ultimately, though, they want to work less on their business, have less of the hassles and stresses. They want more time for family. They want to have more of an automated process where they can not be as stressed about one part of their business as the entire income building revenue stream. So that obviously there's probably more to it that I got to look at, but that's probably when I'm looking at my ideal customer. That's who they are.
Yeah, a lot of times it makes sense when it's yourself, like a few years back. You're like, this is the things I would tell myself back then and
Mhm.
learn from. And if you've been in that place before, chances are somebody else relates to that in a lot of detail. And if you can really narrow down, like, hey, I know exactly what I wanted to hear 10 years ago, and so I can craft my message to that. And it's going to really resonate with somebody who is me 10 years ago. And they're going to be like, raving fan. So I think that's a great start to look at. So where can people go if they want to find you and get connected?
Yep. So anyone that's listening that wants to learn more, say about chatbots or e-commerce, they can contact me on Facebook at Douglas Levin for a free cheat sheet. It's the top 5 tips for taking full control over your e-commerce income. You can also follow, I have a channel, Morning Marketing Machine, and there'll be a program coming out soon called Build Your Brand University. And if there's any way I can help you, please feel free to reach out.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you coming on the show. All those links will be listed in the show notes. And if you reach out to Douglas, be sure to say hello and tell him where you heard about him and where you found him first. So awesome. Thank you for the conversation. Had a great time chatting with you.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me on. It was a lot of fun.
All right. Take care.